I think it's fine to bring in 2, but I wouldn't bring in 2.
How we doing, everybody? Coming at you again. Tuesday night, silly me. Friday Night Modern.
FNM, folks.
FNM. Coming at you live from GameSwap.
Your friendly. What, did you know? This sounds premeditated, but it's not. FNM, Friday Night Magic, has the same initials as Friendly Neighborhood Monster.
It also has the same initials as... I was going to try to come up with a funny joke, but I'm a little dry at the moment.
I have a funny joke, but I can't say it on stream. But I'm thinking of FNM standing for something similar to Steal Yo Girl. But that's not what I'm... anyway, let's go to the game.
Yeah. Let's focus,
we've got,
on the task at hand.
We've got an unhinged swamp coming out for Brent Rogers. Beautiful swamp, one of my favorites.
He started on a tapped Woodland Cemetery.
I like Woodland Cemetery. People have been skimping on it. I like it.
I think check lands in general are kind of criminally underplayed.
Yeah, I think so too. You can't play too many of them unless you're playing Splinter Twin. Then you want all 3 of your Sulfur Falls. But yeah, these check lands are great one-ofs in lists like this.
And
Isolated Chapel's great in black-white tokens.
Mm-hmm. I'm also noting, Brent, we were looking over his deck a little bit before this round, and he is playing a main board Mirren Crusader, which is looking...
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good
I
here.
don't think it's going to be the best thing ever in this matchup, but, I mean, looking at his hand, Andy's hand, rather, as Brent is stripping a card away from it, it's probably going to be pretty good here. Now, he takes one of the 2 Azuris. I'm not 100% sure if I would have made the same play. It's hard to know for sure, depending on what's in his hand. But, I mean, I got to imagine the other one's coming down this turn.
Yeah, stripping... Yeah, that's a good point.
Never mind. Doesn't even need it.
If he's got 2 lords, yeah, taking 1 lord is fine. But if it's a legendary lord, I'm a little less eager to take...
Precisely.
Yeah, but you never know.
And he drew a pretty good card in the Arc Druid. The
Yeah,
that
card is really good.
And it's looking like Brent is a little light on removal, which you can see. I think this is a good kind of way to demonstrate how Elves can be these hyper removal heavy decks. Last round, he just got utterly smashed by Jeskai because the Jeskai player happened to draw all their removal spells, which, to be fair, they have much more removal in their deck. Especially because all their removal isn't explicitly for creatures. You know, you can just dome your opponent as much as you want, so you're going to be much more willing to play a bunch of removal spells. But here, he doesn't have that same luxury, so he's playing a little bit less, and it's looking a little bit closer.
Yeah, you see it happen all the time when these black-green decks, they don't have as much removal. You know, unlike some decks where, like, oh, they definitely have it in hand right now. Like, if your first guy is just dead, you know, that's how you feel against blue-white control. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel against Grixis Shadow. Mm-hmm. But Jund and Abzan, you know, when you got 4 Lingering Souls, 4 Goyfs, you know, 3 Grim Flayers, a bunch of hand disruption.
Bless you.
Oh, thank you.
Gobbles you.
Sneezing over here. God bless you or godless shrine you, am I right?
Well, unfortunately, while we were having that little discussion,
oh yeah, the game ended.
happened to have top deck a little Chord of Calling, was able to go infinite with his Vizier Devoted Druid combo, and then play out that little Zuri and just infinite his opponent, which that goes to show you, if they don't have just they're not flush with removal spells, like I mean, that situation, even if you would have had one, I'm not even 100% certain I would have gone for the Devoted Druid there. I probably would have just gone for that Arc Druid, and then he still would have gotten me with a top deck, and I'd probably be okay with it. And guess what? He got gotten with a top deck.
Yep. Sometimes you get got.
Yep. And you know that's
wise words from Victor Kerr. Got milk
by the Death Grips. Is that who made that song?
What are you talking about? Man,
you've never heard that song?
No, man. What is the song?
It's called like Get Got. I'm pretty sure it's by the Death Grips. If somebody wants to confirm, it's a pretty good jam. It's a jam for sure.
Get Got, huh? Did you know that Get Got is an anagram for toe geg?
I did not, but I actually did. I just never really thought about
Never
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never.
Yeah, it's one of those meditation helps for anagrams.
It is by Death Grips, so I was right. If you guys don't know that song, you're trying to get a little bit hype.
This information means nothing to me. I don't get it. Also, grips is an anagram for sprig, a notable allusion to our good friend the sprig leaf drum. Nope.
Yep.
Nope.
That is technically correct.
Interesting that the card is called spring leaf drum because sprig leaf is an actual term, isn't it? Whereas spring leaf, I don't think is a term.
They pulled up the lyrics for us. Do you want to go over the lyrics for us here, Mark?
So you start.
All right. It's get, got. Blood rush to my head, lit, hot, lock, popping off the fucking...
Whoa, Victor, language.
I asked what the policy on language was before I hopped on the mic, and I was told I'm allowed to say whatever I darn well please, but I guess we're gonna...
The way I feel about it is, if the people in chat can say whatever they want, then we can say whatever we want, right? I mean,
I agree.
They have full freedom. They have this anonymity of the internet going for them. They can say whatever they want, no punishment. Yeah. And I believe
we're not
in
blessed with that.
That's
we're not
right.
Blessed with the anonymity.
Yeah. No, we're putting ourselves out there.
Definitely.
It's a very, very public forum. That's all right. So we're gonna try to talk about Magic. We're really sorry.
Yeah, the night's kind of coming to a close, and unfortunately,
I'm getting tired.
We try not to put the same player on 2 times in a row,
but it happens.
Oftentimes, especially at these locals, as I'm sure you guys are aware, with pretty decent prize support that GameSwap over here in Mason provides, a lot of players try to split prizes.
Yeah,
the last round
that's the problem. We've got tons of players coming out. I mean, I think there were like 30, 40 players tonight or something. But
I believe there's about like mid-20s for Modern and about 30s for Standard.
Yeah.
So we had a good number of players.
Yeah, the problem is that these greedy players.
Yeah,
they don't respect
money grubbing.
They don't respect. Yeah, that's right. These money grubbing players don't respect your time that you spend watching the stream. They're
Which
greedy.
Is pretty messed up.
They don't care about the public welfare of Twitch Top Deck.
You see me, personally. I always, the term, I'm not sure how ubiquitous this is, but Dream Crush is what we call it
Dream
here
Crush, that's right.
At
Dream
GameSwap
Crush.
Mason. If you are playing a round that you could split and make some profit, but you decide to play for all the marbles, I'm a big proponent of that. I feel like you make the most Magic gains by playing those high leverage matches, you know?
Yeah,
the high leverage 3-1.
Sometimes what's key when you're, like if you're at, day 2 at a GP, what's key is performing under pressure.
Right.
And it's not, that sounds silly, but sometimes it has real physical implications. Like
No,
if you don't know the feeling of playing a match with 7 people behind you watching, I mean, that thing, it gets kind of intimidating.
Yeah, I mean, sitting...
And playing for money can help you deal with that, cope with that.
Definitely. And I mean, even...
I don't day 2 GPs ever, so we're going to have to defer to... Do you day 2 GPs? We don't day 2 GPs. We need someone else.
I've day 2'd a GP.
I've done it once. I don't play a ton of GPs.
I've only played in 2 GPs, to be fair, though.
Yeah, I've probably played 3 or 4 at this point. I missed the last one that I wanted to go to for some reason. Like maybe I was on a camping trip. I can't remember. But yeah, sometimes playing under pressure is good for you, and a good way to do that, come out to your locals and be money grubbing.
Yes, definitely. I 100% agree with that. Unless if you're trying to get some canes before it closes. That's the only time it's acceptable to take the split, which will happen.
Or sometimes Mario and I like to get to Waffle House. The nice thing about Waffle House is that it doesn't close.
That is
so no matter how much time you wasted playing Magic, you can still make it to the Waffle House.
Or the IHOP. I'm surprised you would ever go to Waffle House over IHOP, considering they're both 24 hours.
So here's the thing. I like both restaurants a lot. I eat at both restaurants a lot.
All right.
The draw to Waffle House is the waffle, because it's really cheap. The hash browns, when you get them fully loaded, are delicious.
All right.
And the atmosphere is very, very public. There's not a lot of privacy at a Waffle House because of the open nature of this. None of the tables really have privacy. And so if you're looking to have fun, Waffle House is a good place to go. On the other hand, if you're on, you're taking a girl to a nice date,
Waffle House.
That's when you bring out the big guns. You take them to the IHOP.
Yeah, especially if you're lucky enough to be familiar with GameSwap's location. It is near a road called Cox. It's COX, and you can make the very funny joke, never gets old of, the IHOP on Cox.
Yeah, man,
which is one of my most favorite things.
Yeah, that's so not funny, but I'm laughing, so I guess it's
pretty easy.
I suppose. But so the great thing about IHOP is when you take someone there, whatever your relationship to that person is or will be, it's always fun to impress someone by knowing all of the dishes and having tried all of them. and that's what I do whenever I go to IHOP with friends.
With your IHOP knowledge.
Yeah, I like to talk about the Swedish crepes. They're lingonberry crepes.
Ooh.
And not a lot of people try that when they go to IHOP, but I've had it many a times. And
like, what's your go-to meal at an IHOP?
So I like to get the harvest grain and nut pancakes with blueberries, but I specifically ask not for blueberry compote, but for blueberries to be put in the batter in the pancakes as if they're blueberry pancakes, but not with the buttermilk batter, with the harvest grain and nut.
Only?
So it's healthy, protein, nice weedy, germy, granular feeling to the cakes. They absorb syrup a lot better.
I have honestly, I'm laughing a lot, but I really appreciate the amount of very deliberate thought you've put into your IHOP.
Well, that's
I find very respectful.
That's the thing. Part of it is genuine, and then part of it's kind of a show. This is what you do when you take someone to IHOP, is you walk them through all of the things that you've had at IHOP in a very, particular sort of expert way, and then they just swoon because they're so impressed by your knowledge of this fancy, high-end cuisine.
Eatery,
an eatery, as they might say. So we have a magic game here. I'm not sure why a 3-4 Goif is blocking a 4-4 Scoos. That seems ill-advised.
But it's happened. I think he was trying to go for some sequence where he blocks and then pluses. But now that I'm thinking about it, that doesn't really make sense.
Where he...
But I'm confused as to what...
Yeah, I don't know what happened there.
I'm a little confused.
Maybe it didn't block.
I'm guessing it did not block. Yeah. So I guess we should talk about a little bit what has gone on.
I get it now. The Scoos was not a 4-4. It was a 2-3.
Okay.
It was a 2-3 Scoos attacking a 3-4 Goif, and then Andy shrunk the Goif to a 2-3 because the Scoos had a Lily minus on it. So it was actually a very fair block, very interesting sequence of events.
And I think this is a good showcasing of some of Scavenging Ooze's applications. Right now, it's going to eat the other half of this Lingering Souls, presumably. Yep, there it goes. And it's just going to work away at this graveyard of this Goif. However, this Lily is going to be a bit of a thorn in our boy Andy's side. I mean, it is ever so slowly ticking up to that ultimate, which is... It is real.
Almost unbeatable. I've beaten that ultimate. Have you ever beat that ultimate in Modern? I've done it
I've not
once.
beaten it in Modern. I've beaten it in Standard.
Okay. Yeah, I've lost to it in Standard before.
Lost to it in Standard more than I've won against it in Standard.
Yeah. The one time I beat it in Modern was with a Thundermaw Hellkite, just swinging over the top. Because sometimes 5 to the face.
Mine was with the spell.
Pretty good.
Two spell quillers.
That'll do it.
Going for it. And now, Brent just drew a Damnation, and honestly, I'm a little... I think... I don't know if this is greedy, but I think I would have tried to set up a board state. I maybe would not have even casted Grim Flare, just held back on D, tried to trade on the board a little bit, kind of feign some weakness, slam the Damnation, and try to ride this Lily to victory, because I don't think he's got... unless if he has removal spells, any way to work through those two blockers, which I don't think he's probably going to have. Otherwise, he probably would have used them earlier.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a big fan of going all in on Lily here.
Yeah, because, I mean, he's blocking with the Grimflayer anyway. It just died.
Right.
So it's not like it was really going to do much of anything anyway. I probably would have just held back that Tarmogoyf, tried to block, let everything die, see what Andy does. Unfortunately, and he's just playing out two things. So this Damnation is about to be...
This is going to be real. So
Yeah.
swing with the Goyf, get the Goyf in there, see what he does, just for fun.
Yeah.
Um,
a little... You know, I'm always a fan of attacking before my Wrath effects, but it looks like it didn't really matter. Andy had enough.
So I'm going to be completely honest, though. Oh, did he? So he ultimates the Lily, and then Andy just scooped
I believe he scooped in response
to the Lily ult
Damnation.
or the Damnation. Yeah.
I think he just had enough, which is a little bit interesting considering he still did have a company in hand. I think that was a little hasty scoop. I can't blame him. The match, I believe these gentlemen have already split, so they really don't care about that one that much.
Sure.
But
in
a legitimate GP, he can chord or he can company into two
reasonable
combo
threats,
pieces
yeah.
And hope
Oh,
to
sure.
draw.
Yeah,
the
he's
next
playing
one.
combo, sure. I was thinking if you're Brent there, I know we didn't even see what his decision was, but I would have... Let me pose this question to you, Victor. Would you have plussed up the Lily one past its ultimate before ulting? I think I would have.
I think in that situation I would have. I was a little surprised Andy did not play around any kind of Wrath effects there because he had the company in hand and he instead chose to play out two creatures for 4 mana. I think I would have maybe just shoved, see what Brent did, and then
my thought is that Andy was maybe a little sort of shell shock. That's not the right word, but I think he was intimidated by the Liliana plussing up, and he wanted to like guarantee big power on board. And when you have two Arc Druids, that's kind of a tempting thing to do, to try to fight through the Lily. But I agree, the instant speed company there playing around a Damnation, putting two threats effectively with haste out,
or just like a Flaying Tendrils, or really anything, anything you can.
And it's sort of like, but that's one of the things about company. The unknown factor makes it really significantly weaker than it otherwise would be. I stopped playing the card because I didn't like its inconsistency.
I definitely won some games I had no business winning.
Where your opponent whiffs.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's just like fist pump, like one time.
The card really constricts your deck building. For Elves, it's not a big deal because you're going to play a bunch of guys anyway. But even then, it constricts your sideboard. Like you can't bring in too many paths or non-creature spells that you probably otherwise need without hurting your company plan. I mean, every path you bring in without taking out another spell makes each company that much worse. You sort of have to always stay above 28 creatures. If you dip below that, things get kind of dicey. Now, an Elves deck isn't likely going to drop under 28, but a Bant company deck often does. A Naya company deck often does. And people don't adjust their companies accordingly. They leave in companies when they maybe shouldn't. They're playing,
or at least trim.
Right.
Trim on them.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want 3 or 4 companies if you've brought in 2 unified wills and taken out 2 creatures.
And that's something like that's a hard idea just to think of without talking to other people and just figure that out. But that really is something that it's not very intuitive, but those very small percentages definitely add up. And now one interesting thing, I saw Andy's hand, and he had 2 chords. I always thought, and I've honestly never really played the Elves deck, so I'm not incredibly familiar with how they're supposed to board, but I was always under the interpretation that against these removal heavy decks, you really want to board out most of the chords, because so often being a Jeskai player, I've seen this a lot. They'll have a chord in hand, and I just don't care because I killed all their creatures, and okay, cool, they can chord for 2. Like, pretty irrelevant a lot of the times.
So I think there's a couple considerations there. The first one is if you're on a combo Elves variant, I think you hardly ever want to take out the chords because your potential to if in a traditional beatdown Elves deck, sometimes a single tutorable piece is not worth it. But in a combo deck where the combo can actually just win you the game, the payoff is big enough, I think, to leave in all chords. But the other consideration, I think, is that it depends on what sort of tutorable creatures you have that can help fight removal.
Mm-hmm.
Against a red deck, like we talked about last round, if you've got a red deck, or if you're playing against a red deck, I think the fact that you have Forge Tender is worth it.
Yep. I think it's pretty reasonable.
If you're playing against blue-white control and they've got Path and Wrath of God, a little tougher because you don't have a lot of good answers for Path. Really no creature answers for Path outside of like that blue-green hexproof Eldrazi thing that, but no one plays that.
Yeah, I don't know what that card is.
And then Wrath of God beats up on Azuri.
But not most of those blue-white decks are on the 4 Supreme Verdict life.
Yeah. I'm not sold on. I mean, Supreme Verdict is good in a Death Shadow meta. I really like when people diversify their.
Ultimately, it's gonna come down to your expected meta. I mean,
if I were playing,
it's so crazy how much worse any of the Wraths are that are not uncounterable against Death Shadow. Shocker when they're playing a 1-mana negate.
Sure, and that's absolutely true. But it's also crucial to think about how bad Wrath of God or how bad Supreme Verdict can be against Elves, and how bad Supreme Verdict can be against Throne the Last Troll, cards like that.
Yep.
So
now we see Andy just showed the combo here. So this game's about to be over relatively quickly because he has another chord in hand. So
okay,
just kind of showing, making me look dumb for talking shit about these chords.
Yeah,
because he just used both these chords.
Like I said, I think if you're playing the Vizier combo, I think you want to always leave him in because the instant payoff of potentially just winning the game for nothing.
A turn 3 kill.
A turn 3 kill. Yeah, someone ought to ban this crap.
Yeah, like get this nonsense out of here.
Did you know that with my Naya company deck, I killed somebody on turn 4 the other day? I forgot it was possible. Yeah, I killed somebody with a turn 3 Huntmaster that flipped, and then they died. I'm not even sure how it happened.
I've killed a bunch of people on turn 4 with Death Shadow, but that's not really particularly interesting.
No, especially when you got Teamer Battle Rage.
Yeah, and most of the time they involve that, which is nice. Teamer Battle Rage on the side of that deck is. I'm not 100% sure how many you should play, but I definitely think you should have at least one.
You actually have the potential for
a turn
2 kill. Yeah, if you go.
You could a bunch of Street Wraiths.
Yeah, a bunch of Street Wraiths. So fetch, shock, Street Wraith, Street Wraith. Street Wraith. Well, it doesn't even, if you have a fetch shock on turn 2. So yeah, if you go turn 1, fetch shock, Street Wraith, that puts you to
you're at 13 right
so
now.
3 Street Wraiths.
3 Street Wraiths.
Puts you to 11, play 2/2 Death Shadow, turn 2, fetch shock, take you to 8.
You need a Simian Spirit Guide, I think, so that way you can like Thought Seize, go a little bit lower. And then,
well, it's contingent upon your opponent having fetch shocked on their turn 1.
Okay.
If they fetch shock Serum Visions, then you can do it.
Which maybe they did.
Maybe they did, or maybe they're a burn player and they fetch shock bolted you.
Maybe
just helping your clock.
The number of times I've been playing against burn-esque decks and I have the opportunity to kill a Goblin Guide in like games 2 and 3. And I just don't because I want to take the damage. That's happened a surprisingly large amount of
what
time.
a weird Death Shadow, the deck defies all logic.
Yes, and it's very absurdly difficult to play. I mean, the number of games I've lost by what seem like not important decisions have just wrecked me. Like the number of times I've messed up a singular scry and that cost me the game.
Yeah.
It's quite frustrating, but also it motivates me to play as tight as possible because I think a lot of people have lost respect for Death Shadow because a lot of bad people have played Death Shadow.
Right, but at its core, it's a fundamentally challenging, incredibly high skill cap deck, and to play it at the highest levels requires a lot of discipline, a lot of experience.
And in those longer tournaments, we were talking about this earlier. That mental stress that'll get you, and it's one of the reasons why I used to be a Jeskai Nahiri player through and through. That was my bread and butter, and it still is to an extent. I will sleeve it up for most tournaments, but just the issue is in a 15-round tournament, man, like you're going to time pretty frequently. You're getting down to that 10-minute time.
Funny you say that. I wonder if he's actually listening right now, but I got a friend in Indianapolis named James, and he played Jeskai Control for the longest time, and we're talking like 3 Cryptic Commands, 3 Supreme Verdicts main board, Ajani Vengeant, no real threats, sort of Jeskai Control deck.
Mm-hmm.
He took it to a couple of GPs with me. He just would hate his life. I think he day 2'd one of them, but he was like so dead. Like you can't play 9 rounds of that crap in a day. Going to time, like you get a physical headache. You know,
you definitely. And especially, I mean, with Magic tournaments, the big issue is you're going to time, and then you need to eat, but you're going to time, so you really don't have opportunities.
When you're going to time every round
to maintain homeostasis. You know, you're falling apart on the tournament.
Anyway, folks, we're honestly shocked that you're still here listening to us. We
got 75 people.
Wow, 75 people.
It went up from the beginning of the round, surprisingly enough.
Oh, is that right?
And you know what? Well, to this audience, I kind of want to continue. One little thing I want to say.
Just one little thing, Victor. Just one.
I often find people shitting all over tier 2 through like 3, 4 decks for being not competitive, and a lot of times, like in online forums,
I hate people that do that.
Yeah, they'll open up. They'll be like, "This is my deck," and somebody will be like, "It's bad for all these reasons. Nobody's ever put up results." Blah 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 blah. I'm gonna say the number of times I've been playing against not tiered decks, and the only reason I won is because the pilot was not super competent and played it poorly, is very high. The number 1 deck I think of is the Swans deck.
Oh yeah,
Swans
that's
like
a real deck.
That is a very real deck, and the number of times I've been playing against it, I'm like, I'm gonna lose like this turn. Hopefully they mess up, and they do, and I win only because they mess up. So if I never commentate again, I just want to get the message out that play your deck, play whatever deck you like, because when playing with the modern card pool, the card pool is so large, you can ultimately play with pretty much whatever you like, and it'll probably be powerful enough.
You can always tune the main board and the sideboard to beat anything that you need to.
And you just got to play well. I mean, that's the most important part is understand.
Play well, know the strategy, own it.
I mean, my boy sitting next to me, Marky Mark, I've long shit on his Naya mid-range deck, and he consistently does well at our tournaments around here. I mean, he won the first PPTQ he played this season with it.
I did, yep. And the shitty Naya pile.
Yeah, and I was pretty surprised, but you played tight and you got there. So
yeah, it definitely pays off to know your deck well.
I mean, the number of times I thought I was going to win against you, and then you squeaked out some value that I was not expecting with like you. I remember one time I had you dead the following turn, and I was like, okay, you can't kill me this turn. And then you knighted for a Kessig Wolfrun to Kessig Wolfrun a Noble Hierarch to Xaxes me, and I was like, I think 1% of people playing this deck would have seen that line and actually killed me. So, everybody, play tight, be critical of your own mistakes, even when you win, you probably fucked up. Let's be honest. I think most of the time I win, I can look back and be like, that was a poor play I made.
That's the thing about decks like Death Shadow is the deck's so potent that you can be winning with it, even if you're not playing it optimally.
Definitely.
And that's sort of bad for you because it can stifle you from becoming better with the deck because you think like, oh, I'm winning a lot of games. I'm probably playing optimally, but if you're winning games, I mean, that doesn't mean anything.
I think we've all seen on like a Star City top 8 or something, some just jabroni playing so bad, and you're just so frustrated. You're like, how does this bozo top 8? And Magic is a game. It's a variance-based game. Sometimes you just draw really well a whole tournament and just crush, even though the player isn't probably the strongest player in the room, even playing that deck. So, you got to take the good with the bad with the old beast that is Magic, Sometimes you'll just get fucked and it feels bad. Sometimes you just get mana screwed twice in a row and you hate your life, but
while we're still pontificating here, I wanted to build on my mic's going down. Victor's point about tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 decks. Mm-hmm. People say like, oh, that deck hasn't put up any results. Yeah, it's because nobody plays it.
Yeah, if the one guy in the room doesn't put up a result, like
if you go to a big tournament and you see red white Soul Sisters, top 8 at GP, which happens fairly regularly, just keep in mind that, at that 2014 tournament, there were 100 people playing Splinter Twin, and there were 2 people playing Red White Soul Sisters, and half the people playing Red White Soul Sisters made the top 8.
Yeah, that's a nice stat.
So that's how I feel about decks like that.
I had one point I wanted to make. Okay, I guess kind of start winding things down. In our local area, upcoming, there's a Super IQ up in Columbus tomorrow.
Oh yeah, tomorrow. I can't go, but yeah.
It's they got some good prize support. Dat EV. I know all us Magic players are all about Dat EV.
For those of you who know or don't know, EV is not only a Generation 1 Pokemon that transforms into Vaporeon, Jolteon, or Flareon. It is also an abbreviation for estimated value.
Which, Google that. I'm not informed enough on the topic of estimated values to give you a precise definition, but there's a chance I'll be there tomorrow. Kind of a drive I'd have to make kind of early in the morning, but the tournament's at 12, or the players meeting starts at 12 rather, so I'd have to get there around 11. But
what are you playing tomorrow, Victor? Will you tell people, or you don't want to say in case you play them?
I'll be playing some Death Shadow.
Okay.
I've been working.
Sultai Death Shadow?
Not Sultai.
Oh,
not Sultai.
Come
However, I wanted to say this when we were talking about Sultai Death Shadow earlier. The best part about Sultai Death Shadow, I was ahead of the curve with concern to stubborn denial.
Okay.
Because I built Sultai right when Jund Death Shadow was like the thing. And I was like, I feel like Stubborn Denial is probably a pretty good card.
Yep. I agree.
Bought 3 foils for I think they were like $3.99.
Yeah, now they're like probably $22.
I think they're like $17.99, but nevertheless,
yeah.
I was pretty stoked about that. So
MTG Finance, yo.
Yeah. My MTG Finance is trust yourself. If you think a card's busted, maybe if the foils are $2, go for it.
That's right. What do you got to lose?
Nothing. And you can flex on some people one day. Like I got a good deal from a dude for a foil engineered explosives. Got it for around I think $40. Now they're like $1 zillion.
A gazillion? Wow,
yeah.
That's a really high. Yeah, that's really high for a fake number.
Yeah, you know me. All right, well, got anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, it looks like we got 17 more minutes left in the round. You want to sing a song or two, Victor? We could sing American Pie once or twice, maybe even 2.5 times. No, we're gonna leave.
What's New Pussycat? Maybe.
What?
One time, back in my high school days, we went to I think it was a B-dubs or some variation of a B-dubs, and we purchased What's New Pussycat on the jukebox 7 times. And I don't know if you know how long that song is.
I don't even know that song, so no.
What's New Pussycat? Oh.
I've never heard that in my life, and I think I'm glad about that. I mean, I'm not glad, but
it's iconic.
It is.
I'm a little. Well, there goes that story. Basically, I bought it a whole bunch of times on the jukebox, and people were getting frustrated. It was pretty funny.
All right. Well, does this content end up on the YouTube channel? I hope not. I hope whatever the last match was
doesn't make it. It wasn't super exciting. Actually, in the Game 3, we never commented on this because I don't think we actually talked about Game 3 really at all until it was over.
No, we watched. Yeah, no. What happened?
He mulled his 6 and then just drew 6 again because I think they were just kind of wanted to play a game, because I think that's another good thing to do when you're doing some casual play is, I mean, if you go to 5, you're probably not going to win, If you go to 5 against an opponent with a good 7, it's really damn hard to win, So in those more casual games, typically I don't go below 6. And I think that's what these guys did as well. So I would be really surprised if people decided this content was quality enough to throw on the old YouTube page for Top Deck Production, which is www.youtube.com.
Don't forget the HTTPS
stream, not just Top Deck Productions, Top Deck Productions stream.
So have you ever won games on the Mulligan to 5? I've won a couple. I can remember them vividly. I think every game where I win a mulligan, where I win on a mulligan to 5, is because I have an Ajani Vengeance.
I will say, very recently in a PPTQ, I top 8'd. I didn't win. I was playing Just Kinda Here, big shock. Mold of 4 against Burn, 0 lander.
Kept
his
a
hand-
ley line.
Didn't know. This was game 1.
Okay.
Draw for my first turn on the draw. Mystic Gate.
Okay. Mystic Gate, good card.
Could not cast my Serum Visions, however. Missed my land drop the next turn. Got 2 lands in a row. Ended up drawing
Helix Snap.
I was main decking a Timely for this tournament.
Okay.
And actually, the only reason I won, so I ended up just like playing cards, but I Timely twice, both times for only half value. And if I would have gotten full value, I would have lost because he ended the game with all 4 Searing Blazes in his hand.
And you had no guys.
No targets. No targets.
Holy crap.
So that was pretty sweet. That was
That
one of the
is,
cooler
that's
things I've ever
legendary.
done in my life, honestly.
Yeah, one of the most recent Mold of Fives that I won, I was playing against I think I was playing against Bant Company actually. My opening 5 was Hierarch, Land, Dramoka's Command, Ajani Vengeance. And my opponent, I'm on the
That's
draw.
about as good as a 5 you can ask for.
Well,
honestly.
especially when your opponent plays a Hierarch and a Courser of Crufix on their turn 2, and then I untap and I go.
Second enchantment fight.
Yeah, I swing with my Hierarch, right? Swing with a Hierarch. It's a 1/2. Fight your Hierarch. That's a 0/1. Make you sack an enchantment, and then we drew a land and played the turn 3 Ajani Vengeance, and it doesn't get better than that.
That's pretty fucking awesome.
It was dirty. The dirty Mold of 5.
Well, I think I gotta leave right about now if I want to get to Canes in time.
Yeah, are there still people in here? Oh wow, there's 40. Yeah, all right, we're gonna leave.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get some food. I'm gonna go home, probably have a stinky, and
No one knows what that means, and we don't want to know, so don't bother sharing.
Fair enough. All right, it was fun. Hopefully, I get to hop on here, commentate with you again in the future at some
Yep.
point. I assume
Either
next
hop
week.
on here or I hop on Cox.
Yeah, either work, either work. So everybody look forward to Mark and Mario.
Yep,
next
Mario will probably be back next week. He's in Cleveland, taking some time off. But anyway, we'll stop talking. We apologize for everything that happened this evening.
I thought it was pretty good.
It was all right.
Nobody
Yeah, it
won.
was good.
You got a lot of followers.
Yeah, sure.
All right, see you guys.